Caps all.
How's it going, guys, and welcome to Game Involved. I'm Shifty Cow, and in today's video, as you can probably tell, we're going to be talking about DICE. So before we get into it, if you guys do go on to enjoy the video, be sure to smack that like button down below. It really helps us out. But anyways, let's just hop into it. So one quick thing before we start, I am going to be talking about DICE and EA and basically what they've been doing well, what they're doing poorly, what they've just completely ruined, and things like that. So hopefully this video doesn't get too ranty or opinionated, but just kind of a fair warning. So with that out of the way, guys, let's start talking. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is something that is pretty obvious, but people really seem to get confused and have a lot of misconceptions about. So anyways, guys, let's just clear this up right now. The people who developed Battlefield 4 was DICE Stockholm in Sweden. Now, because they can't do everything, they have other projects to do, they pushed that over to DICE LA when they wanted to do some more expansion packs. I think it was right after the Naval Strike DLC, but I'm not entirely sure. That's when it kind of shifted over to DICE LA, and ever since then they've been producing content for Battlefield 4. So pretty much Dragon's Teeth, Final Stand, all the new content that's been coming in the Weapon Crate DLC, the new maps like Zavid, the Community Map Project, all that has been DICE LA, and then also Visceral has been working a little bit with the netcode, and they mostly worked on things that came out in the CTE, kind of testing different balance things, patches, bug fixes, all those types of things was Visceral's responsibility. But now that Hardline's released, they're pretty much only moving on to Hardline DLC and that type of development. So one thing that people really seem to get confused is they don't understand where EA comes in. Now, EA is a publisher, meaning they're going to invest in developers like DICE to build a game, then they're going to distribute it, they're going to publish it, put it on stores, and that way DICE makes money, EA makes money, and the best way I can show this off is with an example. So picture this, you're watching Shark Tank with your boys, and all of a sudden this guy comes in with the squatty potty, like you guys are blown away. Clearly, Mark Cuban's going to be all over this shit faster than he can MLG quickscope some sharks, so he's going to invest in it, he's going to make money, the people who made the Squatty Potty are going to make money, and basically he's acting as EA, and then the Squatty Potty producers are similar to DICE. It's pretty prime example. Now, the problem with this is that when you have a separate publisher from your separate developer, you're going to have some problems in terms of development time and rushing out a project to make as much money as possible. So this pretty much happened in Battlefield 4 because it released in October 2013, and the main reason for this is in November and December of 2013, guess what was launching? The PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, both of these pretty much had very few FPS games. It was Call of Duty Ghost or Battlefield 4, and when your competition is this, it's pretty obvious that you're going to want to go with the massive tower that comes down and kills everything in its path, and EA did an incredible job of hyping this game up. The only problem was it was nowhere near finished, so they had pretty much all the textures, all the pretty stuff down, but really the gameplay mechanics were nowhere near as good as they needed to be. So really, after a couple DLC packs, I think it was after Naval Strike, they finally released the Battlefield 4 CTE, and this pretty much admitted that they had totally messed up, it was way too early for them to release it, and ever since then we've seen some major improvements to Battlefield 4. Pretty much all of the Final Stand DLC maps were heavily tested on the community test environment, and this provided some amazingly smooth launch, some awesome gameplay. There were very few bugs that actually came out, which was really surprising considering all the new assets and mechanics they added in with the railgun, snowmobiles, all those types of things did really well for a first time launch. So ever since then, for the past year or so, we've had all of our patches, all of our adjustments heavily tested on CTE before they actually make it in game, and really this has just benefited the quality of the game, and also it's brought up a little bit of the people who have really been against DICE, especially with the poor launch and the horrible netcode. So guys, before we get into the good stuff, let's just review all the horrible things that came with Battlefield 4 sometime between launch and now. So just reading off the list, we got netcode, launch, crashing, bugs, rubber banding, head glitching, kill trades, killing around walls, delayed DLC, fake reloads, optimization issues, visual errors, poor server ping, outdated equipment, poor balance, commander unbalance, improper map design, rush. And those are just a couple of things that I came up with off the top of my head, and a lot of these things have either been completely fixed or at least somewhat fixed with the CTE. So I have not rubber banned or lagged for a very long time. I've lagged occasionally due to my Wi-Fi, it just kind of is stingy every once in a while, but really a lot of the things that people complain about on the forums nowadays, they tend to be something that you might want to look at client side, like your Wi-Fi, internet connection, all that type of thing, versus something like the server side, because the servers are pretty much better than ever, and they have done a really good job. So now that we're done talking about all the trash that they produced and all the stuff that just wrecked the game that's still in the game that they need to fix, let's talk about some of the good things for a change. So first of all, if you guys didn't already know this, the premium calendar ended last December, and that was when pretty much everyone was expecting there to be no more DLC, no more guns, no more extra stuff or bug patches. Stuff like that was just going to be ended, and then we're going to move on to Hardline and just completely ignore Battlefield 4. Now, this was actually not the case, and we've gotten already the Weapon Crate DLC with the AN-94, which is awesome, and the Mare's Leg, which is not awesome. And then we've also gotten things like the Zavid Night Map, which although they're just kind of slight variations of map we already had, they play out completely differently, and they are a ton of fun to play on. Also, we're going to be getting more night maps like Siege of Shanghai and Golmud Railway. Those are going to be coming in, and then we're also getting the Community Map Project. That's super dope. I love playing on that. And also, we might be getting some more revivals of old maps like Dragon Valley from Bad Company, yeah. And then we also might be getting No Shar Canals from Battlefield 3. So that's going to be pretty enjoyable to see. And honestly, this continued support is really enjoyable to see, especially after the piss poor launch of Battlefield 4. So aside from patches and free DLC with weapons and maps and all that type of stuff, one thing that people really seem to overlook that the developers are doing is Easter eggs, because Easter eggs provide pretty much no enhancement to gameplay usually, but they do provide an awesome achievement if you do find them, if you figure out what they're for, and it's really fun to kind of figure out what the developers put it in for and trace it down to see what the history of it. Sometimes they have little stories behind them, and honestly, they take a pretty substantial amount of time to develop, and a lot of people really don't appreciate that. Imagine how much time it took for the people to actually design the Megalodon, to put it in the game, and then to code in the trigger. It's not something that you just throw together in like an hour or so. It's something that you have to work on for a couple of days. You have to get all the textures right, have to get all the triggers right, and then something like the Phantom Project. That is a lot of planning out. They had a bunch of history in it, and then you also got an entirely new weapon, the Phantom Bow. They had tons of assignments, and just kind of secret Easter eggs scattered throughout all the maps. So it's really just an insane amount of work that people really don't tend to notice unless it's posted on someone like Jack Frags' channel. And really, it's something cool that the developers are doing to kind of pull in the community and make them search out for a Megalodon or a Phantom Bow or just ways to unlock things. It's really cool to see that, and it's awesome that DICE actually cares about creating cool Easter eggs that people want to find. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hopefully you did find it informative or funny or enjoyable. If you did, be sure to smack that like button down below as it really helps us out. Be sure to subscribe for more Battlefield 4 content. But until next time, guys, stay buttery. Invincible.